Hey there, Outliers. Niiamah Shang here, and thank you so much for letting us be a part of your journey. It's so funny, Outliers. Like I have to like do a little dance or a jig right now before we came on here, and it's because like I take this so seriously that I have to remember to like actually play and have fun with it. So I'm excited for us to have this conversation today. We got five incredible. Stupendous, actually, stupendous outliers here to join us on the Outliers Edge Roundtable, where they're going to share their insights and experiences on how they continue to level up their impact, their income, and their identity in order to play the biggest game that they can. So let's give ourselves a chance to get to know all of them here. We'll start off with Chris. Then we're going to go over to Dr. Stan or Dr. Breakthrough here, right? So let's start off with Chris.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. My name is Chris.
Yeah,
I'm
Chris. I
located
realized I didn't actually give you a prompt here, so would you mind letting us know more about you and the game you're playing right now?
game I'm
Thank you.
playing. I appreciate that. My name is Chris, and the game that I'm playing right now is making sure that I am always true to who I am, regardless of whatever opportunities come my way. I've had the opportunity to be on, to fly to the Philippines and speak, and I've had a chance to just speak to college students or high school students making that next transition in their life. And regardless of where I am on state, what stage I'm on, I want to make sure that the values that are true to who I am, that they are helping me make the right decision when I'm moving forward. So that's the game I'm playing.
I love that. I love like the values being the rules of the game that you play by. This is amazing, Chris. It's great to have you here. Dr. Breakthrough, we're coming to you, and then we'll go to Rebecca.
Well, hey, my name is Dr. Stan Harris. They call me Dr. Breakthrough and always give a disclaimer. I can't provide a breakthrough. I just prescribe the breakthrough. And when people follow the prescription, God Almighty provides it. And the breakthrough, it's exploding through barriers that at one time seemed insurmountable. So the game that I play is empowering people. I ignite and reignite a passion in people for life, for love, for the Lord, and for business. And so I travel the world. I speak. I'm also a minister of the gospel. And I empower people to break through the barriers that try to hinder and limit them. As a 10th degree black belt, I also teach what I call mental martial arts, teaching people how to beat the bullies on the brain. And so I appreciate you having me. I apologize I didn't get the message. I'm supposed to have that microphone like you and Chris have, but next time I'm going to catch y'all. So that's the game I play, and I'm loving it. Come on now.
Oh, play on, Dr. Breakthrough. Play on. Thank you so much for being here. Let's go to Rebecca, and then we'll go to Matt.
Hey y'all, thank you for having me. So right now, Rebecca, I'm a mom, a wife, entrepreneur. So the game that I'm playing is being the biggest impact first in my home and being a light, and then going out into the world and being the light. As you can see behind me, I'm big on faith. So just cultivating faith, love, peace, and joy within myself first, and then teaching my children how to have that so that they can be whole within themselves. That's what my brand is about. Inspire Her Within is teaching women how to look within for all of the love, affirmation, and validation that they seek so that they don't have to look for it outside of themselves. So I just want to be a light, like we talked about earlier. Matt was talking about the qualifications. Like you have to be yourself and joyful and bubbly. That's me. I like to live life just being a beacon of light.
Well, thank you for coming to shine some of that light here in this conversation. It's great to have you here, Rebecca. Let's get to know Matt, and then we'll go over to Sarah.
Very good. My name is Matt Gersper. My game is happy living. About 10 years ago, I sold a business in international trade, and I was looking for an opportunity to help people figure out how they can live a happier, better, healthier life. And we came up with as to kind of put a niche in the business, because the mission was to improve the happy of the world one person at a time. The niche that we created was a 7-block pyramid, 4 blocks in the bottom, 2 blocks in the middle, and a block on top. And the blocks in the bottom are all about building up the personal power that you need to take really good care of yourself and create value for others. And we call those physical fitness, mental fitness, spiritual fitness, and financial fitness. The 2 blocks in the middle are about discovering your purpose. What's your reason for being on this planet? And we call those love and adventure. And then the block on top is actually also the name of my podcast. It's called Significance. And we define significance as doing work you love with people you love in places you love and creating value for others while you're at it. So that's my game, and having a blast playing it.
Oh yeah, I can feel it. I can feel it right here. Thank you so much for building that game. Thank you for bringing it over here. Sarah, bring us home here. Let us know more about you and the game you're playing right now. You are muted right now.
Yeah. Yeah, so many things that everyone said. It's like, okay, so I'm Sarah Adams. My name's not on there. So, but my name's Sarah Adams, and I'm a transformational life coach, a musician, a singer, choir leader. I love to bring people together in group song, and children's ambassador of joy. Love to create programs for children in music and art and dance. Oh gosh, what's my game? My game is inspiring, being a beacon of light, like Rebecca, being a beacon of hope and a beacon of light, and helping people to just radical self-love through embracing and accepting all the emotions. Right now, we're clearing so many emotions on the planet because we're really moving through a lot of transformation. And so much of what I do is about embracing that and being that all embracing love so that people can be that for themselves and move fluidly through the many emotions. And my husband and I do relationship coaching. So that's a big part of my joy, is helping couples stay together and weather the triggers and the storms and keep their love alive. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I'm glad that you're here. And I want to thank all of you here. Y'all have gotten me thinking, even as we started here, I'm like, all right, we have a tremendous group of people here. How can we play? What can we tap into the conversation? So if you see something that can be uplifted in this conversation or up leveled in this conversation, feel free to bring it in. My thing is to allow awesomeness to continue to emerge and to have no barriers on it, right? So like I'm going to start off with this here. This was actually inspired by Chris. Chris, when you talked about like, I generally got the sense of like regardless of what stage I'm on, I'm showing up as me, right? And I love that component of like regardless of what stage I'm on. And so I would love for us to talk about, I have to walk the line of making sure we don't get into like the self-help cheerleading around it, and actually talk about like where's the nuance for the outliers. So I think what I'm curious about is that y'all play a big game. Y'all speak on many stages, right? In different ways. I think that it's one thing to say I'm going to be authentic, and I think it's another thing to actually have to like live it. I lived in Singapore for 4 years, and the least authentic I was when I was out there, because I thought I was respecting the culture, forgetting that I had to be me through it, right? And so I'm curious for you all, how do you all like stay true to yourselves as you walk onto different stages of life? And I think I'm really curious about is like, what's the cost? What's the investment that you had to make in order to actually allow this to take place? I'm going to use the word cost because I think it shows a little bit more of a nuance in that. All right. So I'm going to toss this question into the mix here. And then I'm going to go on mute. So if anyone feels called to answer this, go ahead and unmute yourself, and then we'll see where the conversation goes. All right. Awesome.
I'll say what it cost me was my old life. So I grew up in a very religious cult where everything was controlled. I had to dress a certain way. I had to speak a certain way. There was certain expectations. If you didn't show up that way, you were casted out. And I was casted out because I decided to live in my authentic truth. And so in the beginning, it hurt. It cost me my friends, my parents, everyone turned their backs on me. But when I wasn't living authentically, what it cost me was my mental health. I lived with severe depression for most of my life, anxiety, low self-esteem. And I felt I couldn't be myself and do what my heart really desired. So it was either I lost myself or I would lose people. And when I chose myself first and lost everyone else, that's when God began to show me my purpose in life. And now people that see me now, they don't even know who I am because that old person no longer exists. The woman who was depressed, stressed, suicidal, just afraid to be herself. Now I'm the total opposite. And now I'm helping other women do that through my podcast, through my coaching. And so I love the fact that you said there's a cost. There is a cost to not living as your authentic self. And you might lose people, but it's so worth it. Cause now I'm happy. Like I'm just me wherever I go, whether it's on my podcast, at the grocery store, at home, no matter where you see me, you'll see the same version of me. And so I just recommend everybody to just live your authentic self and not be afraid of losing people. Because if that means that you're going to find yourself, that's worth it.
Yeah, that's great. Niiamah, can I step in here?
Yeah, please do. Just
So
for this first round, just like make sure we all remind us of your first name when you talk. That way we can get used to your voice, and then we'll
Yep.
go from there.
Okay, this is Matt, the hidden one. When you raised the question, and even Rebecca talking about it, it reminded me of a really great, it's not a quote, but a story about the Golden Pool of Magic by Robert McNamara. And I'm just going to read a couple lines here. It says, we lose ourselves. He says, we are all born with whirlwinds, forest fires, and comets inside us. We are born able to sing to birds and read the clouds and see our destiny in grains of sand. But then we get the magic educated right out of our souls. We get it churched out, spanked out, washed out, and combed out. We get put on the straight and narrow and told to be responsible, told to act our age, told to grow up for God's sake. And what I'm doing with Happy Living, what I'm trying to encourage people to do, what we're talking about here, is don't grow up. Find that inner youth, find your real authentic purpose, your reason for being here, and then that lights you on fire. And all the people I interview on my podcast, the Something Significant show, that's what you see with them, because they've gone through and rejected what culture might say for them and embraced what, let's say, what God said or what their purpose said, and they're living and they're building their life around that purpose.
Hey, awesome, Matt. This is Dr. Stan, known as Dr. Breakthrough. And there's a powerful quote that says, we're born originals and oftentimes die a copy. Well, I'd say to people, it's okay to be a copycat as long as you copy the right cat while you're on your way to being your own authentic cat. Because you don't have to reinvent the wheel, but you must put on your own rims, because sometimes they only buy the car because of those rims and those beats. So in that way, the beautiful thing, and sometimes, and again, the price as being mentored by certain people. And then when you start spreading your own wings, sometimes people that mentor and coach us, they get dependent on our dependence on them. And then they get offended when we start showing independence. And so, like our sister Rebecca, I used to be a professor at a well-known Bible college. And when they veered off of core values, I had to stay. By the way, my oldest son and I were talking the other day, and I said, I don't hardly have to make a whole lot of decisions. He said, Dad, that's because you already made decisions years ago that you set in stone, and those decisions make decisions for you, so you don't have to keep thinking what you're going to do. And so, like Rebecca's ostracized people that I'd known for my whole world, basically from 17 to 30. Was all told they couldn't speak to me anymore, whatever. And so starting all over from scratch, but it was great. And so I always say some people are real, others are good, some are fake, most are real good at being fake. Well, I'm real good at being real. God bless you. It's breakthrough time.
I'm thinking of how I can contribute. I'm Sarah to this conversation. And thank you, Stan and Rebecca. Gosh, I think what stands out for me about being authentic, it's a big question, is really, like trusting in the inner voice, trusting in that intuition that knows when something's right for me and when something isn't right for me, or maybe when something's not right for me at this time, even, right? Maybe it's going to be right for me in the future, but right now, it's being in the now with what is. And for me, it's a lot about Like I used to try to just be, I thought, okay, I'm going to be just hyper positive. I want to always be positive. I don't want to feel the pain. I don't want to feel the trauma. I don't want to feel any of that negative stuff. I'm just going to go towards all this fun stuff and good stuff and be happy and be happy. And my life again and again has taken me into really the underworld, the deepest traumas. And I find that by embracing all emotion, there's a joy that goes beyond any kind of idea of happiness or sadness. There's an absolute joy in the all embracing love that can feel anything and let it pass through like this open aperture of self, like a waterfall. That is when my highest self is in the greatest joy, is when I'm in full allowance of all feeling. And so life has been disappointing at times, a lot of times, and I wanted something to go this way and it didn't. And having to let go of attachment. And when something feels wrong, it's like, okay, no, that's the wrong way. And sometimes the right way is really not the way I want to go, but my higher self is guiding my life, and just trusting in that, trusting that my higher self knows what it's doing. And my ego self is clueless most of the time. So being authentic to that inner voice, that whatever, inner call, inner voice, inner knowing. So that was kind of a long answer.
We got you, Sarah. Thanks.
And thank you, Sarah, for that. I actually want to thank everyone for sharing their viewpoint. Now, outliers, I'm going to talk to you for a second. I want you to really focus on my voice. My name is Chris Ward Jr., and you may want to write this down. It's very important. Before you count the costs, you need to know your anchor. Because before you go on any journey or you commit or invest into anything, you have to have an anchor that will hold you down during the biggest storms of your life. And so my anchor is, I believe our greatest pain becomes our strongest motivation. So behind every why, there's a story with a gift discovered. And if I know that there's a story behind the story, there's a gift there, I approach every situation that I go through looking for the story, because I know the gift will come. So then when the cost is there, I'll know if it's worth it or not, right? I'll know that, hey, if I make this decision, the opportunity cost, I'm giving up this, but I'm gaining this. Or I'm saying no to good so I can say yes to great. So it's really important to know what you believe in, what your system is, and to anchor to that. Because without that anchor, you can be swayed in so many different ways. And that's where, trends, right? Where trends can take you in different places. And as an outlier, usually as an outlier, you're someone that doesn't fit the mold. So it's very important to invest and focus on that anchor, that belief system, before you invest in the cost that you're about to take.
Chris, can you make this real for us? I love what you're saying here. Can you make it real here by sharing an anchor that you had at a time where you felt like you're gonna have to go and pay a cost or something, and bring us in to see how this worked out practically for you?
Great question. So I want everyone to look at their life as canon events, right? What canon events are: experiences you go through that you can't avoid. You can't navigate around it. You have to go through it. It's just part of what will create you to be the person you are today. So I want you to imagine coming home from vacation and you walk into the office and you see your boss and your boss's boss standing there right in front of the office. Now, what are you probably thinking if you see your boss and your boss's boss standing in front of the office? Anyone? What thoughts come to mind?
I'm about to get
As you're
hired.
gonna get
Yeah, I was
Promoted.
gonna say, about to get fired. What's going
About
on?
to
I'm
get
in trouble.
fired. Matt said he's about to get hired. I love it. I love it, right? Everyone has their different lens. And I realized what was happening because 2 weeks prior, something inside of me said that your time is done here. You've done all that you can do. Why do you continue to try to fit the square into the circle hole? And a coworker came to me and said, "Hey, Chris, I never want you to mistake your calling for an assignment, because assignments have expiration dates, but your calling does not." And that is what was going through my head as my two supervisors are there. And as we have our conversation, I'm smiling the entire time. They said, after 5 years of great investment into our company, we're going in a different direction. Now, Niiamah, I had to call my wife. How do you think that phone call went? when I told her that I was no longer working there.
So I don't know, you're an outlier. So like she could have been like just happy to be like, hey, I'm glad now it's time for you to go off and do your thing. I mean, I'll be right, but I'm just gonna come in and see that. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking your wife has
Does everyone agree
got your back
with
like that.
does everyone agree? Give me a thumbs up. If you agree, give me a thumbs down if you think it was completely different. Thumbs down, a couple of thumbs down, thumbs up. She's an outlier herself. So we decided to celebrate.
Yeah.
We decided to celebrate. And we took our two boys and we told them what happened and we celebrated. And 2 weeks later, I get a call from the Philippines to say that I'm coming there to speak with 3 other speakers on servant leadership and for their security there. And so that's what I mean by sticking to your anchor, that you believe in something so true to your values and who you are, and you're not looking at something bad happening in your life as the door closing. You're actually seeing it as, wow, I get to really live out my true purpose. So if you're an outlier out there right now and you're feeling like your circumstance seems a little bit bigger than your purpose, I want you to take a moment. I want you to breathe, and I want you to think about what you believe in. And I want you to stick to it and know that you will get through that circumstance because your purpose will always be greater than the circumstance that you're in. And that's my story.
Yeah, I'm feeling it there. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. And like I also I got a sense of you in that response. I'm like, oh, I can see you. I can see like how you hold a room, how you hold the thing in. Like I just appreciate that level of consistency. Like you said, like at every single stage I show up here, right? It's one thing to say things, and you'll find this with me in the conversation here. Like I'm gonna ask, me like, if I could put it on a bumper sticker, I'm gonna be like, how did you make it real? You know? And I think it's like one thing to say, like, hey, no matter what stage I'm on, I'm always gonna show up as this here. And then you came in, you demonstrated it, right? And outliers, I want you to take this in. Chris told us how he shows up. He's like, no matter what stage I'm on, regardless of the stage I'm on, I show up in a very consistent way. And like it was really refreshing for me. It's the first time I've ever been on a podcast where like this interaction has happened. I was like, oh, this is really fresh. And I was like, but I'm getting to see you. I'm getting to see how you show up. And I want to make sure I put that in there because it's the reality of it all, right? It's the reality of all that I think we're all really here for. Um, so let's keep on playing here today. Thank you all for bringing this in. One of the things that I get really excited about whenever I get to talk to people is just to get a sense of like what you're creating right now, right? But the thing I want to look at is like the edge part of it for you. What's something that you're taking on right now that actually like scares you a bit or scares you a lot? Talk like let's bring some of that into this space here. Tell us about how you're navigating it. What's scary about it for you? There's something in here that I look at, like I'll put myself into the mix here. I just realized that uh, I think that the business that I'm creating is far bigger than the way that I'm creating it. I'm like my identity keeps getting pushed through, and in particular, what's happening right now is that I've had a coaching background, and now I'm looking at things. I'm saying, oh, I think I'm actually going to actually just help people with the systems to go and get things done. And I'm like everyone around me, the way I think of myself and the way that like I think that people think of me is like as a deep, powerful coach. Like so now if I'm like I'm going to help you build your business through these systems and all that stuff. I'm like, have I diminished who I am? Even though I feel like I'm like I can see the whole path. It's all there. And so I'm like that's something right now that's like making my palms sweat. I'm reaching out to as many people as possible to. I think Dr. Baker through you're bringing it in, but it's like to be seen in this way, to be seen, to be held, to be like I'm like this is who I am now. So I'm really curious about something that y'all are taking on that is really challenging you, not just like in terms of the work to get done externally, but the work like challenging you internally. I think a lot of us outliers are in a position like this, and we're wondering if we should take the crossroads and if it's worth it. Y'all got anything for me? Go ahead and unmute yourself and share.
I'll share. This is Rebecca speaking. Today, actually, I'm a coach as well. I've been coaching for a few years now, and everyone just tells me how good of a speaker I am. My podcast, Her Inspired Mind, everyone loves it. I'm on the road to hit 100 episodes by the end of this year. So I've been really just focusing on that. And it's been a little challenging lately because I have 4 boys, ages 5, 12, 15, and 20. And so that balancing act of raising my children still, my 5-year-old, he's climbing walls, and from the moment he hits the ground, today he woke up at 5:30. Why are you up that early, right? And so sometimes it can be taxing. You're trying to raise children, and as a coach, you're one-on-one. And so I've been just questioning lately if I should keep coaching one-on-one or should I take a different approach. And so recently I attended a workshop called the 2-Day CEO. It's with Rise Up Kings. You guys should definitely check it out. It's Christian businessman self-development program in Texas, in Flower Mound. And this time I was allowed to go with my husband because we have an HVAC business as well. And I asked him, I said, listen, like what you have, I want to create, but for women. And I was like, what should I focus on? Like, should I keep focusing on one-on-one coaching or should I do group coaching? He's like, oh yeah, definitely group coaching because you can make a bigger impact at one time versus the one-on-one. And I was like, okay, all right. So I had that. And then today, I don't even know how it happened. I went down a rabbit hole. Now I have my Shopify apparel, which this is one of my shirts, connected to my TikTok account, started an Etsy store. And so I'm just like, okay, I love coaching and I know I'm really good at it, but like you mentioned earlier, I think it was Chris, that your assignment, right? And your purpose. So could it be that I'm having to take a break from one-on-one coaching and now focusing more on creating digital products, drop shipping, and doing group coaching? That's the season I'm in. And so I'm just trusting God with the process because I don't know. This is where I'm at, which I like the idea because I can then spend more time making a bigger impact around the world, even while I'm sleeping. And then also creating maybe some courses and being able to enjoy and not stressing, right? Not forcing anything as I'm trying to raise my children. So that's where I'm at. I have a lot of a lot of different pieces. I have my podcast, coaching, merch, on social media, all of the things, but I'm also a mom and I believe that my first assignment is my children. And so that's what I'm focusing on is just loving on them, but I also want to live in my purpose. But how can I do that in a different way during this season now?
Appreciate that you asked that here, and you like I can feel you living into that here and bring that in. I appreciate that, Rebecca. Let's keep the conversation going. What else are people taking on? I see you, Dr. Breakthrough.
Hey, yeah. So a lot of my business success has been in network marketing, home-based business. So I've been blessed to be the top of 7 different companies, #1 income earner, #1 recruiter. And so now I started, authoring books. And so now it's like now I'm the guy that's having my own breakthrough. Of course, I always tell people it's Dr. Breakthrough. I needed more breakthroughs than anybody I know. And so I just learned how to help others get the breakthrough. So now the scary thing for me is now with this new book that I created, it's not just a book, but it's the whole movement where it's going from a book to I have a course now, and then from the course to actually have coaching, and from the coaching to certify people, and to teaching what I call my kingdompreneur principles, which is how to operate a business God's way with God's blessings. And from there to eventually have it as curriculum for Christian schools and colleges and so forth. So it's totally different than, so again, there's always a scary thing, but one of the things I always taught was, your next breakthrough is on the outside of your comfort zone. And then when you grow outside your comfort zone, you find that's where your breakthrough is. But if you do that long enough, then the uncomfortable zone now becomes your next comfort zone. And then you have to grow to a next. And so anyway, and so it's kind of scary. But one of the things that I always say to myself, even like when I'm working out in the morning, I always say this, and I got part of this from Muhammad Ali. They asked him to say, how many push-ups do you do? He said, I don't know. I don't count until they hurt. And so, and they also said, did you like working out? He said, no. He said, I always said to myself, suffer now and live the rest of your life a champion. So I kind of reworked that a little bit. And so now I say, suffer now and live the rest of the day a champion, then wake up tomorrow and do it all over again, because success can never be owned. It can only be rented. And the rent is due every single day. And so, again, this is a whole different place for me. Again, instead of just building teams like again, a lot of people, it's hard for them to do, but once you've mastered it, right? And I've been paid thousands and thousands of dollars, made millions of dollars doing it, but now it's like this is a whole new type of thing. And although I've written books before, but putting together a whole business model around that and promoting more Dr. Breakthrough LLC as opposed to Dr. Breakthrough LLC promoting the other things. So that's where I'm in the space I'm going in right now. That's why I changed my background just for a minute, but that's where I'm at. And it's exciting. I know eventually I'll get there. And one of the things I always say to myself is that I got to be committed to the process of being bad or feeling bad for as long as it takes to get good. Any outlier that embraces that, you can learn anything. God bless you.
Yeah, I'm taking something from here, and I want to try and get in. Ooh, probably have time for like one more answer on this one here. So before I share what I got from it, let me open it up for it's one other person I want to speak about, like a project that they're taking on that really grows them here. I'm appreciating what you and what you all bringing so far. Cool. Well, this like I feel like we're in good space there with this here. You know, Dr. Breakthrough, I got to say a couple of things that's coming up for me as you did this. One, I love that you changed your background. Firstly, I was thinking about your background in the first place. I was like, oh, like what would it be like to actually like use that real estate, you know? And so that was cool. And then I feel like again, like I feel like we get a chance to see how y'all show up. You're like, I've gone to the top of 7 different levels of teams. Like I'm building out the movement through the business, you know? And I'm like, part of what you do is intentionally using your background, you know, like there's like these different things that come out of it. Where yeah, I like, just in case you're listening to this, as soon as I said it's intentionally using your background, he then put on. I'm hoping it is you breaking through like cinder blocks behind us here, right? Um, and so I love these components of like taking what we do and continuing to level that up as we continue to make different moves on here. And it's so funny because I'm sure that other people look at you and they're like, well, this should be easy for you to build this movement. But you're like, for me, this is new. I'm not seeing it in the same way that I'd seen other things. Well, look, I deeply appreciate all of you here. I want to make sure that outliers get a chance to know how they can dive deeper into the journey with you and continue to stay in your world, right? To continue to evolve in your world. So the way I'm going to do this here is first I'm going to go to outliers and make a request. Outliers, you've gotten a chance to like hang out with like 5 incredible people who are out there living their life in a real way. And one of the things that I get about this conversation is the level of integrity everyone brings. Like they live, like they are walking their walk every single day. They walk their talk every single day, and you're seeing it being done here in this experience with us all. My ask is that there may be someone in your world right now who could really benefit from the conversation that was had, both the words that were spoken and more importantly, the things that weren't said but were experienced. And I ask that you share this experience with them. Go ahead and share it on your platforms. Like we are a community of people with big platforms, so go ahead and go and do that. But underneath that, I want to invite you to the one person, one conversation at a time initiative where you can share this episode with one person that you feel would really benefit from this. I think there's something about it that's just like cutting through the noise and letting someone know, like, hey, I see you. And I think that this conversation in particular would be a gift for you, given where you're going or given what you're working on. Right. So just know that like it's a two-pronged approach, but I have a feeling that underneath all this, the real belonging and love is going to come through that one person, one conversation at a time. So thank you very much, sir. All right. Thank you, Outliers, for doing that. All right, panelists. So what we're going to do now is we're going to wrap up our conversation. And the way we do this is that we're going to share 2 things. One, let us know your contact information so outliers can go deeper down the journey with you. And then the second thing here is to share an insight that you got from this conversation, something you're walking away with this conversation with. If you didn't get an insight from it, no problem. You can just go ahead and share that and we'll take it from there. All right. All right. Awesome. Matt, why don't we start with you here? Would you mind sharing? Let me actually give it one breath. There we go. And then Matt, would you mind letting us know about how we can go deeper down the journey with you, and then an insight you got from this conversation, if any?
Yeah, you can go to, please go to happyliving.com. And on the opening page, you're going to see a free book called Making Your Mark of Significance. You can download it. It takes about 30 minutes to read. I designed it to be read on a cell phone. It's very cool. You'll love it a lot. And then after you've read it, contact me and let's see what we can do together to improve your life together. And I would love to reach out with any of the outliers out there who read the book. Let's have a conversation. And then the second thing is the insight. I guess the insight is, which I'm learning everywhere I go, there is a lot of cool people doing a lot of great stuff everywhere in the world. We get drowned out by all the negativity. But if you're listening to this episode right now and you're not living in your purpose, start looking for it. And I say there's 3 questions that'll help you. What inspires you? Why is it important to you? And then focus on how you'll bring it into your life. And if you do that, you invoke 3 powers: the power of priority, the power of the heart, and the power of the universe that will help you create the life of your dreams, like you're seeing these people on the screen right now are living the life of their dreams.
Matt, thoroughly appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here, for bringing us in here. Let's go to Rebecca. Can you share more about how people can go deeper down the journey with you, and then an insight you got from this conversation? And then Sarah will come to you next.
Absolutely. So this has been fun. I've never done anything like this. So thank you so much again for having me and us here. So my contact info, I have a few things. So get a pen and paper if you haven't yet. So RebeccaFillmore.com, that is my website. I have some freebies there that you can get, like a 30-day self-care challenge. So no matter who you are, even though I work mainly with women, but anybody can benefit from it. Also connect with me on socials. So Facebook is Rebecca Fillmore. LinkedIn is Rebecca Fillmore. Instagram is Inspire Her Mindset. On TikTok, they just changed my name because I opened up my store. It was Inspire Her Mindset, but now it's Inspire Her Within. And my podcast, make sure you subscribe to my podcast. It's called Her Inspired Mind. It's available on all podcast platforms. And then you can also email me at RebeccaFillmore@gmail.com. So those are the different ways you can connect with me. I do host events in person and virtually. So you could also subscribe to my email list. I also send weekly life tips from time management is my thing, helping people manage their time better so that they can have a more balanced life. And, just different mindset tools. I'm actually in the middle of learning more about neuroscience and how to rewire our brain and our genes and all that good stuff. So if you're
It
interested
feels
in,
like we've been given us a bit. Like outliers have their some things to play with here. You know,
yes,
I
for
appreciate
sure.
that, Rebecca, and I also get that you are a giver, right? You you
Yes,
make it possible that for people to get way more than what they may expect when they come to your world. So thank you for that. Do you have an insight that
absolutely.
you want to share with us?
Yes, the insight that I have is just we are all from different places, right? And just seeing that even though we're from different places, different experiences in life, how you were able to find us and connect us. So just going back to what we were talking about, being authentic, being your authentic self, outliers will attract other people that are just like you, and you will be brought together with people just like you, just how we are here today.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Thanks for being here. We'll go to
Absolutely.
Sarah, and then we'll go to Chris.
Let's see. Okay, let me make sure I'm unmuted here. Yeah. You can find me at sarahhopeadams.com, Sarah with an H. So sarahhopeadams.com, and you can schedule a free informational call for any of my music, any of my healing services, any of my classes. And there's a lot of free music available on sarahadams1.bandcamp.com. So that's one place where you can just freely stream a lot. And then on YouTube at Sarah Adams Music is there. And my Sarah Sparkles Ascension updates. If you're woo-woo and far out and multidimensional, you can you can also find me there, but also through the website. I think my website has a pretty good, it kind of has everything that I do. So that's a great place to go, and you can do a free call and just explore. And let's see. I think my big insight, it wasn't so much an insight, but more of an affirmation. You know how sometimes you just get a real affirmation and it kind of like clicks something. And when Chris was talking about how, you may go through circumstances that don't look good, right? And they on the surface, they can feel scary and like something bad is happening. But if we can see that we have that anchor beyond the circumstance, right? The anchor of our purpose, then we can move forward in a positive way. And we can see that that life, when we're playing a game that's too small, at a certain point, it becomes extinct and we get pushed out because the soul is being called to go into that deeper game, which may involve more risk, right? But at the same time, the reward is beautiful because we're growing and we're expanding. So I think Chris just brought that point home, which is a very powerful, already existing in me. But it was like, Chris, when you said it, it just went like it anchored it in a little more. So that was
Thank you
really
for
cool.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you
And
for
then
that.
Rebecca, Stan, I don't know if I could voice, and Matt, exactly what it was, but I really enjoyed, being on this call with you. So thank you so much. And Niiamah, of course, for bringing us all together.
Thank
So
you for
thank
playing,
you.
Sarah. Like this is awesome. Appreciate you. We'll go to Chris and then Dr. Breakthrough. You wrap us up for today. You bring us all home. All right. So, Chris, if you can share how people can go deeper down the journey with you and an insight that you are taking away. This is important. This is about for you. What are you leaving here with? Outliers are covered.
Well, I first want to say, Niiamah, thank you. This doesn't happen without you. So let me just acknowledge your greatness before I talk about myself. So Outliers, he's the one. So keep supporting him as he brings the resources to you, and make sure you support him because it can get lonely out here as Outliers, right? So I just want to say thank you to everyone that was here. I'm going to start with my insight first. The insight that I've learned from just amazing people is when you truly actively listen in the right circles, you'll start to get the pieces of the puzzle that you've been looking for. And just listening to each and every one of you, I've started to shape just a little bit of those conversations that I had in my head. I'm now thinking from a different angle and a different lens. And so I want to thank you. I want to thank you for sharing who you are and how you show up. And I just want to say I appreciate you. So that's my insight is that it shapes the puzzle pieces that you're looking for when you are in the right circles. So thank you for that. As for the Outliers, if you want to follow me on all social media platforms, Chris Ward Jr. Chris Ward Jr., even website, chriswardjr.com. If you are someone that wants to deliver those powerful talks, with one story, one promise, and one framework, I'm the person that people go to for that. And if you're trying to if you just have a question, just a simple question you would like for me to answer it, I'm here. I want to support not only the Outliers, but I want to support Niiamah, because if he's doing this and bringing people together like this, I want to support the source of where it's coming from as well. So if you have a question, please send me an email or social media message. I'd love to connect, and thank you. I appreciate you.
Dr. Breakthrough, take us home here. Thanks again, Chris.
Awesome. Well, man, this has been incredible. And so one of the things I took away is one of the insights is how each and every one of us are so totally different, have our own idiosyncrasies, and yet it seemed like it as one, a cohesiveness came and just hitting from different angles. And so I don't know if it's so much an insight as it reinforcing, as Sarah said, some things that I thought about. But again, the need to have this because you have a conversation and you have a way of doing things and saying things, but when other people bring in their views and it all meshes together, it's like the scripture says, a threefold cord is not easily broken. So it seems so much stronger. And my brother, you are such a, by the way, a powerful coach. I hope you're doing voiceovers with that voice, by the way. So anyway, the way you can contact me is 717-275-3508. I'm a real outlier. My wife says, why do you give your number out? Because I want people to call 717-275-3508. But seriously though, that's my 24/7 hotline, breakthrough hotline. And one time I had answered my phone and this lady said, no, hang up. I got a friend that was so discouraged. I said, if you just hear Dr. Breakthrough's voice message, it'll make the rest of your day. And then I had a guy text me, say, hey, I'm about to call you 3 times in a row. Don't answer. I'm trying to write down all that stuff you say. And so then it started hitting me. And so I started giving that as an assignment when I would speak. And then people would tell me, man, I bought a product from you. That voicemail is better than the product, man. And so I have some people every week they call. So give it a call, 717-275-3508. I promise I will not try to grab your number and put it on some kind of thing. It's just for that. Then drbreakthrough.com if you want to follow me, Break, B-R-E-A-K, through, T-H-R-O-U-G-H, drbreakthrough.com. That's my normal business website. For those of you who are ministry oriented, which obviously, if you haven't figured out by now, I'm a minister as well as a motivational speaker, as well as a married man and a martial artist. So you can also check me out at drbreakthroughministries.com. I love preaching and traveling, speaking, and so forth. And then if you want to be mentored by me, I got some free courses on theinternetmentor.com. So THE, theinternetmentor.com. Then lastly, if you want to see some videos of me breaking stuff and breaking bricks on fire and laying on nails and all that kind of stuff, then you can go to breakthroughcard.com. And that's a little e-business card with a bunch of videos on it. And so if you can't speak real well, I say if you break stuff real good, then listen to anything you say.
Nice, nice. You
God bless
you
you.
take
Thank
the
you so much.
breakthrough quite literally. I love that there. Look, y'all been an amazing group of people to spend time with. You've inspired me, and you've also showed me like what it looks like to actually like show up in the world in alignment and integrity. I want to say thank you to all of you outliers. Remember this: be you on purpose. Journey on. Let's all just say a quick bye.
Journey on.
Bye. Blessings.
Breakthrough time.